Good morning, dear students. Welcome to this class of dyes, color and constitution. In this class, we are going to take up some questions like what are dyes, what are colors, and our primary focus will be on the topic color and constitution. That is, how the structure of dye decides color of a substance. So, let us begin. The first question comes, what are dyes? Dear students, you must have used dyes in your day-to-day life to color a fabric, feather, food items or some more substances. So what is the criteria to qualify for a dye? The first thing is, it is a chemical substance which can impart suitable color. And this chemical should be able to fix itself or capable of being fixed to the fabric to which it is used to give color. And third and most important, it must be fast. That means it should be resistance. It should have resistance towards water, dilute acids, alkalis and various other organic solvents used to wash the fabric. Otherwise, it will go off in single washing. The history of dyes dates back to Egyptian pyramids because fabrics dyed with indigo and madder have been found in the tombs of pre-dynastic Egypt. Though the first synthetic dye was made in 1856 by William Parkinson, which he used to call Marvin. So this is a brief introduction of dye. Let us move to the next question. What are colors? So what is meant by colors? What are colors? Before going to this question, I would like to go to one more basic concept, that is electromagnetic radiations. You must be aware electromagnetic radiations are energies which are composed of a magnetic and an electric component, both oscillating in plane perpendicular to each other and perpendicular to direction of propagation. Electromagnetic radiations, also called as EMR. EMR is able to travel even in vacuum with a velocity of 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Electromagnetic radiation spectrum is composed of different wavelengths, different frequencies and accordingly different energies. But all of these wavelengths or frequencies have the same velocity, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Here is the picture of electromagnetic spectrum. You can see it starts with gamma rays or even before that with cosmic rays, and when we move from gamma to X-ray to UV towards this end, that is towards short length, wavelength increases. Accordingly, the energy and frequency decreases. Somewhere after UV and before IR lies the visible radiation in the range of 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. This visible radiation is also known as white light. When white light falls on a substance, the light may be totally reflected or totally absorbed. In the former case, the substance appears white and in the later black. If a certain portion of the light is absorbed and the rest reflected, the substance has the color of the reflected light. if only a single band is absorbed, the substance has the complementary color. This concept of complementary color can be understood with this table of complementary colors. Let us try to understand it. Suppose white light falls on a substance and the substance absorbs wavelength 400 nanometer to 435 nanometer from that white light. It means it absorbs in the violet region, and accordingly it will appear yellow to green because complementary of this violet is yellow green. Likewise, suppose white light falls on a substance and it absorbs wavelength 435 to 480 nanometers. This means it absorbs in blue region. Accordingly, due to reflected light, it will appear yellow in color. One more case can be taken. Suppose a substance absorbs 580 to 595 nanometer wavelengths from white light. That means it absorbs in the yellow region. So the substance will appear blue because blue is the complementary of this yellow color. So from this discussion, we can answer this question that what are colors? The colors are the reflected wavelengths from the white light which a substance reflects when white light falls on it, and these reflected wavelengths reach our eyes, and accordingly that substance bears a particular color. Let us now move to our main focus, that is how do dyes impart color. So far we have understood that dyes are substances which are able to fix themselves to the fabric, and their presence on the fabric make the fabric appear colored. So what is the relationship between color and the constitution of dyes? This question has been answered by different theories. There are three important theories regarding color and constitution of dyes. These are Witt's theory of color, then valence bond theory of color, and molecular orbital theory of color. We are going to deal these three theories one by one. Let us start with Witt's theory of color. Witt's theory of color was proposed by Otto Witt in 1876. This theory had two important terms in it. These are chromophores and auxochromes. Let us discuss these terms one by one. First, what are chromophores? Here it is benzene, which is colorless. Let us see what happens when a group like NO2 is attached to benzene. It becomes pale green. Likewise, when azo group is attached with benzene, the new compound appears orange red. So, according to Otto Witt, there are certain multiple bonded groups whose presence make the compound appear colored, and these compounds are known as chromophores. As in Greek, chroma means color and phoros means to bear. So, in the given example, NO2 and azo groups are the chromophores. Some more examples of chromophores are nitroso group, nitro group, and paraquinoid group, also orthoquinoid group. Now, let us understand what is meant by auxochrome. Again, here it is benzene, which is colorless. What happens when NH2 group is attached to benzene? The resultant compound aminobenzene or aniline is still colorless, whereas as we know, NO2 group's presence makes benzene pale green. So NO2 group is a chromophore. Now question comes, what happens when this NH2, which cannot impart color, gets attached to benzene along with NO2? The answer is the resultant compound is deep yellow in color. So NH2 group cannot impart color to a compound, but if it is present along with a chromophore, it intensifies or deepens the color. Such groups like NH2, which cannot impart color to a compound or a molecule, but they can deepen or intensify the color when present along with a chromophore. These groups are known as auxochromes. So certain groups which cannot produce colors themselves but deepen or intensify the color when present with a chromophore. NH2 group is an auxochrome. Some more examples are SO3H group, COOH group and OH group. So according to Witt's theory of color, presence of certain groups which are multiple bonded responsible for color of a compound, and presence of some other groups intensify the color. So this was the earliest theory given to explain relationship between color and constitution. Otto Witt's theory was one of the historical theory of color of compounds, but it was not based on the modern concept of chemical bonding. There are two modern theories, and the first one of them is valence bond theory of colors. You must be aware that valence bond theory of chemical bonding was given to explain nature of covalent bonding in the molecules. According to valence bond theory, the half-filled atomic orbitals partially overlap to form a chemical bond, and each orbital after overlapping has a pair of electrons. So valence bond theory of colors also deals with electrons pair, and according to this theory, when applied to colors, these electron pairs in ground state oscillate, and if they absorb photons of sufficient energy, they get excited, and wavelength of these absorbed photons depends on the difference between energy between ground state and excited state. So electron pairs oscillating in ground state absorb photons of sufficient energy to move into excited state. If these electron pairs are the electrons of sigma bond, which are strongly held by the nuclei, then they need higher energy, or they can be excited by absorbing lower wavelength. But if these are the electrons of pi bond, which are comparatively weakly held by the nuclei, they need lower energy to get excited than sigma electrons. Accordingly, the pi electrons absorb higher wavelength which have lower energy. So according to valence bond theory, the electronic pair present in the molecule absorb the photons from the falling radiation and get excited. And if these absorbed photons are happen to fall in visible range, then the substance will appear colored. Let us understand it with the help of one example. Here is the case of ethene. Ethene has sigma electrons as well as pi electrons. Since sigma electrons are strongly held by the nuclei, so we concentrate on the pi electrons which have more chance to get excited on absorption of energy. So this pi bond has a pair of pi electrons. If they get excited, they form this charged structure. This is the excited structure, and according to valence bond theory, in case of ethene, this difference in energy between ground state and excited state is large. Accordingly, ethene needs higher energy or photons of short wavelength to get excited. That's why ethene absorbs in ultraviolet range and appears colorless because it doesn't absorb in visible range. These charged structures may or may not be in resonance. If they are resonating, then resonance among charged structures lower the energies in ground state as well as excited state. These charged structures contribute more to excited state than ground state. So if sufficient pi electrons or conjugation is present in the molecule, they will result into resonance or more number of resonance structure. As a result, there will be lowering in the energy of ground state as well as excited state. So large number of electrons involved in resonance, smaller will be the difference of energy between GS and ES. This is the reason extended conjugation lowers wavelength needed for excitation, and accordingly energy needed is less and electrons get excited by absorbing even in visible range. Let us understand it with the help of some more examples. Like ethene, there are some other molecules which have pi bonds. Ethene absorbs at 175 nanometer. That means it absorbs in ultraviolet radiation. This is 1,3-butadiene due to presence of 2 pi bonds and conjugation. Its delta E is lowered and accordingly it absorbs at slightly higher wavelength than ethene. This is a compound with 6 carbon having more conjugation, and this extended conjugation results further in delta E, and accordingly it absorbs at higher wavelength or lower energy. In case of benzene, if there are groups with plus I or plus R effect at the end of benzene, these groups extend conjugation, and extension of this conjugation results into absorption of wavelength at longer end. For example, benzene, though has conjugation, absorbs at 204 nanometer. If NH2 is present, which has plus R effect, presence of NH2 increases the wavelength absorbed by benzene. NO2 likewise extends conjugation and increases the wavelength. That means nitrobenzene absorbs at higher wavelength or needs lower energy to move its pi electrons from ground state to excited state. Likewise, when NO2 and NS2 both groups are present, they further extend the conjugation and increase contribution in the charge structures to resonance hybrid. Accordingly, wavelength becomes longer and this compound absorbs at higher wavelength of 375. This is the explanation of color and constitution by valence bond theory. In a nutshell, according to valence bond theory, there are electronic pairs present in a molecule and these are oscillating in their ground state, and if some photon falls on it and if photon has sufficient energy to excite them, they absorb that photon. And if these photons are of higher energy, then the compound will be colorless. But suppose the difference between ground state and excited state is less due to various reasons. In that case, the compound or molecule will absorb photons of lower energy or higher wavelength, which may fall in visible range, and accordingly the compound will appear colored. So, according to VBT, it is delta E which decides whether the compound will be colored or colorless, and delta E in turn is decided by presence of conjugation. If the compound has more conjugation, more number of pi electrons, the delta E, that is difference of energy between ground state and excited state, will be less, and such compounds will absorb in the visible range and appear colored. This is well proved by this structure of beta carotene. This structure has a lot of conjugation due to presence of alternate single and double bonds. As a result, it absorbs at higher wavelength or lower energy photon of 451 nanometer, and it appears yellow in color. So, larger the number of electrons involved in resonance, smaller the delta E. So, extended conjugation lowers wavelength needed. This is the explanation of relationship between color and constitution by valence bond theory. After valence bond theory, let us move to one more modern theory of colors, that is molecular orbital theory. You must be knowing, like valence bond theory, molecular orbital theory was also given to explain nature of covalent bonding among the molecules. The important difference between valence bond and molecular orbital theory is that in valence bond theory, electrons are dealt with in pairs, whereas in MOT, that is molecular orbital theory, they can be dealt with singly. According to molecular orbital theory, that is MOT, electrons are dealt singly, and in a molecule these electrons are present in different molecular orbitals. These molecular orbitals can be bonding, non-bonding or anti-bondings, and these molecular orbitals have different energies, and electrons present in these molecular orbitals can be excited to higher MOs on absorption of photons of suitable energies. There are different types of possible excitations in molecular orbitals. These are excitation of electrons from sigma to sigma star, from n to sigma star, from pi to pi star, and n to pi star. These are the excitation in the order of decreasing energy. Here sigma and pi are sigma bonding and pi bonding MOs, whereas sigma star and pi star are sigma and pi anti-bonding orbitals, and n is non-bonding orbitals. These orbitals and excitations can also be represented graphically like this. Here sigma bonding orbital has the lowest energy, whereas its anti-bonding has the highest energy. In between there are pi bonding, non-bonding, and pi star anti-bonding orbitals. So electrons present in a particular orbital can be excited to higher energy orbitals by absorption of energy of suitable photon of suitable energy. So this is the idea about molecular orbital theory, and it can be illustrated with the help of this example. Here there is a group, carbonyl group, which has a sigma bond, a pi bond, and also it has got some two pairs of electrons which are non-bonding. These electrons are present on oxygen atom. So various possible types of excitations in this group may be sigma to sigma star, pi to pi star, or n to sigma star, or n to pi star. And suppose there is excitation from pi to pi star, that means one of the electrons present in this bond, this is pi bond, gets excited to pi star, or n to pi star means the lone one of the electrons present in the lone pair moves to anti-bonding pi orbital. These type of excitations are possible in the compounds having carbonyl group. For example, methanol CH3CHO has carbonyl group, and there are three possible bands due to pi to pi star, n to pi star, and n to sigma star. The first one is n to pi star. It appears at 285 nanometer, whereas pi to pi star appears at 190 nanometer, and n to sigma star appears at 160 nanometer. It shows that excitation from n to pi star needs longer wavelength or lower energy, whereas n to sigma star needs lower wavelength or higher energy. So according to molecular orbital theory, electrons present in a particular molecular orbital absorbs energy of suitable photons of suitable energy and get excited to higher energy molecular orbitals, and if these photons, if this energy difference lies in the visible range, then the compound appears colored. And it also underlines, molecular orbital theory also underlines the effect of conjugation on color and constitution. It can be shown by this table. Here there are compounds like ethane. Ethane has no pi electrons or no lone pair of electrons. So ethane, which has only sigma electron, can have only one type of transition, that is sigma to sigma star. As sigma electrons or these transitions need higher energy, it absorbs very short wavelengths, that is 135 nanometer, which falls in UV range. So ethane is colorless because it doesn't absorb in visible range. Moving to ethene. Ethene has sigma as well as pi electrons. So ethene can have sigma to sigma star type of transitions or pi to pi star type of transition. Among these two, it is pi to pi star transition which needs lower energy or longer wavelength, and in case of ethene, this pi to pi star transition takes place at 175 nanometer, which also falls in UV range. Coming to 1,3-butadiene, which has sigma as well as pi electrons, and here pi electrons are in conjugation or in resonance, and as a result pi to pi star transition takes place at a longer wavelength or lower energy. Still this energy needed for this transition falls in UV range. So this is another compound having extended conjugation, and here pi to pi star transition needs very low energy or long wavelength of 460 nanometer, and this long wavelength falls in visible radiation. So it absorbs in visible range and hence it appears yellow. So this table explains effect of conjugation on color. So according to it, if there is conjugation, the chances of excitation of electrons from lower energy molecular orbitals to higher energy molecular orbitals lie in visible range, because conjugation decreases energy gap between these two orbitals. Conjugation decreases energy between highest occupied and lowest unoccupied pi molecular orbitals, so the wavelength of absorption band increases and finally reaches to visible region. This is the explanation of color and constitution by molecular orbital theory. So dear students, in this lecture we dealt with three important theories of relationship between color and constitution. Among these theory, the first one, that is Witt's theory of color, was a historical theory. It was given in the times when there was no idea about structure of atom. Even discovery of electron was not there. It was way back in 1876. But other two theories, that is valence bond approach and molecular orbital approach, are based on modern quantum mechanical theory, and both of these theories explain the color and constitution with the help of electronic excitation, though the former theory takes electronic pairs into account, whereas molecular orbital theory takes single electrons responsible for these color and constitution. This is all from this lecture, and here are the references, that is the books referred to prepare this lecture. Thank you.